Historically, the U.S. Jewish community has come out in favor of stricter gun control laws, but there is a Jewish pro-gun movement. It's called Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership, and it's led by a man from Arizona named Charles Heller. We met him in Denver, where he gave the keynote address at a rally with other pro-gun groups.
Every Jew ought to know how to handle a gun. I mean, this is basic. I mean, we've had something of a history of being oppressed. Doesn't it make sense if you're an oppressed people to learn how to defend yourself against oppression?
Jews for the Preservation of Gun Ownership was founded in 1989. Charles Heller says the group has seen its numbers grow in recent months, as the mass shootings in Aurora, Colorado and in Newtown, Connecticut have made many Americans on both sides of the gun debate become more active in defending their positions.
You're beginning to see people like our rabbinic director, Rabbi David Ben-Dori, who is an Orthodox rabbi with a congregation in New Jersey and also a firearms instructor. And he takes people to the range. In fact, he takes whole segments of congregations to the range to try and help them learn how to defend themselves.
A major element of the gun control debate these days is how best to secure schools. Mr. Heller cites Israel as an example of how, in his opinion, putting armed guards in schools can prevent violence.
Ever since in Israel in 1972 they had a massacre of some school children, they've been armed in the schools. Not every single, certainly not every teacher and all that, and we're not advocating for that either. You know, all you have to do, if you want to have security, what you need to do is have it be layered. Like in your home. You don't just have a gun, that's not security. You have bars on the windows, you have an alarm system, you have a dog, and you have a gun as a last resort.
Thank you very much. I'll pass this on to him.
Many of the pro-gun activists who spoke with Mr. Heller at the Denver rally said they were surprised to see a Jewish leader at this type of event. And Mr. Heller said that fellow Jews are often surprised when they initially hear his position.
No one ever recoils from us in horror. You know, they don't go, oh my God, an armed Jew, and you know, and do the Roadrunner thing going away. It just doesn't happen. What I find mostly is curiosity. They look at me as if I had maybe an eye in the center of my forehead or a second head or something, until I try and explain things to them. And sometimes it's very simple, like, do you believe that the guilty should be punished? And they say yes. And I say, do you believe that the innocent should be punished for the acts of the guilty? And they say, no. And I say, well, that's what gun control is.
Charles Heller and Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership represent a relatively small minority of Jews, but they have become an outspoken voice in the intense nationwide debate on gun control. I'm Mary McCarthy for JN1 in Denver.